Hey guys, Pastor Tom here. I am walking through Holy Trinity after hours. That's why the classrooms look dark. So recently I got an email asking me something along the lines of, hey Pastor Tom, do you think we're going to be able to have physical touch in heaven? Meaning, like, when I get to heaven, will I be able to shake hands with Jesus? Will you be able to give a hug to your loved ones who are already in heaven? And I understand this question because the Bible is, when it talks about heaven, it's not exactly always the clearest that we would like it to be. The thought kind of behind it is that heaven is just so wonderful, so great that our minds can't always comprehend it. And also, when you think about the pictures of what heaven is like on TV and movies, for whatever reason, the pictures of heaven in movies are always like fat, floating babies playing the harp in the sky, which might not seem like the best way to picture heaven, right? But here's a couple of my thoughts from the Bible about why I believe that we'll be able to touch in heaven. So number one, what's the first picture of heaven we get in the Bible? What's the first picture of paradise? It's the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and they clearly could touch. So that's a good sign. The next thing I think about is there's a story that Jesus told called the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. And Lazarus was this poor guy, but when he died, it says angels took him up to heaven, and he got to be by Abraham's bosom, which means he got to physically touch Abraham. Then there's another thing that I think is really powerful as well, that when Jesus died on the cross and then he came back to life, in his resurrected heavenly body. And remember what he did with that heavenly body? He showed the disciples his hands and said, reach out, touch my hands. And so he was able to touch with his new resurrected body still. And he was like, yeah, come here, let's cook some fish. And he showed that he could eat. So he was touching, he was eating, and that was all in his new resurrected body as well. So like I said, sometimes when we look at the images of heaven in the Bible, it often generates more questions about what heaven will be like. So I'm looking forward to going there. Because of Jesus, I'm looking forward to seeing what heaven is like myself. And when you get to heaven, you'll be able to touch Jesus' hands. You'll be able to shake your loved one's hands if you want to be formal. But more likely than not, we will be giving hugs and celebrating how awesome our God is when we get to heaven. So God's blessings to all of you. Have a good rest of your day.